Christ is risen. Christos anesti. Christos voskreσε. El Msichkom. Ha Mashiachkom. Christus resurrexit. Cristo ha resucitado. Christos anviat. Christi unial. Aristotosu fukatsu. Hidu fuhola. Christo boahashane. 3 Kings, 1 Kings in Hebrew, chapters 17 through 19. And Elihu the prophet, the Thesbite of Thesbe of Gilead, said to Achab, As the Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be these years dew nor rain, except by the word of my mouth. And the word of the Lord came to Elihu, saying, Depart hence eastward, and hide thee by the brook of Korath, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink water of the brook, and I will charge the ravens to feed thee there. And Elihu did according to the word of the Lord, and he sat by the brook of Korath before Jordan. And the ravens brought him loaves in the morning, and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the water of the brook. And it came to pass after some time that the brook was dried up, because there had been no rain upon the earth. And the word of the Lord came to Elihu, saying, Arise, and go to Sarepta, of the Sidonian land. Behold, I have there commanded a widow woman to maintain thee. And he arose and went to Sarepta, and came to the gate of the city, and behold, a widow woman was there gathering sticks. And Elihu cried after her, and said to her, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. And she went to fetch it. And Elihu cried after her, and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of the bread that is in thy hand. And the woman said, As the Lord thy God lives, I have not a cake, but only a handful of meal in the pitcher, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am going to gather 2 sticks, and I shall go in and dress it for myself and my children, and we shall eat it and die. And Elihu said to her, Be of good courage, go in and do according to thy word. But make me thereof a little cake, and thou shalt bring it out to me first, and thou shalt make some for thyself and thy children last. For thus saith the Lord, The pitcher of meal shall not fail, and the cruse of oil shall not diminish, until the day that the Lord gives rain upon the earth. And the woman went and did so, and did eat, she and he and her children. And the pitcher of meal failed not, and the cruse of oil was not diminished, according to the word of the Lord, which he spoke by the hand of Elihu. And it came to pass afterward, that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, was sick, and his sickness was very severe, until there was no breath left in him. And she said to Elihu, What have I to do with thee, O man of God? Hast thou come in to me to bring my sins to remembrance, and to slay my son? And Elihu said to the woman, Give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom, and took him up to the chamber in which he himself lodged, and laid him on the bed. And Elihu cried out, and said, Alas, O Lord, the witness of the widow with whom I sojourn, thou hast wrought evil for her in slaying her son. And he breathed on the child thrice, and called on the Lord, and said, O Lord my God, let, I pray thee, the soul of this child return to him. And it was so. And the child cried out, and brought him down from the upper chamber into the house, and gave him to his mother. And Elihu said, See, thy son lives. And the woman said to Elihu, Behold, I know that thou art a man of God, and the word of the Lord is in thy mouth is true. And it came to pass after many days, that the word of the Lord came to Elihu in the 3rd year, saying, Go and appear before Achab, and I will bring rain upon the face of the earth. And Elihu went to appear before Achab, and the famine was severe in Samaria. Now Achab called Abdiu the steward. Now Abdiu feared the Lord greatly. And it came to pass, when Jezebel smote the prophets of the Lord, that Abdiu took 100 prophets, and hid them by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water. And Achab said to Abdiu, Come, and let us go through the land, and to the fountains of water, and to the brooks, if by any means we may find grass, and may save the horses and mules, so they will not perish from the tents. And they made a division of the way between them to pass through it. Achab went one way, and Abdiu went by another way alone. And Abdiu was alone in the way. And Elihu came alone to meet him, and Abdiu hasted and fell upon his face, and said, My lord Elihu, art thou indeed he? And Elihu said to him, I am. Go, say to thy master, Behold, Elihu is here. And Abdiu said, What sin have I committed, that thou givest thy servant into the hand of Achab to slay me? As the Lord thy God lives, there is not a nation or kingdom whither my Lord has not sent to seek thee. And if they said, He is not here, then has he set fire to the kingdom and its territories, because he has not found thee. And now thou sayest, Go, tell thy Lord, Behold, Elihu is here. And it shall come to pass, when I shall have departed from thee, that the Spirit of the Lord shall carry thee to a land which I know not, and I shall go in to tell the matter to Achab, and he will not find thee, and will slay me. Yet thy servant fears the Lord from his youth. Has it not been told to thee, my lord, what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Lord? That I hid 100 men of the prophets of the Lord by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water? And now thou sayest to me, Go, say to thy master, Behold, Elihu is here, and he shall slay me. And Elihu said, As the Lord of hosts, before whom I stand lives, today I will appear before him. And Abdiu went to meet Achab, and told him. And Achab hasted forth, and went to meet Elihu. And it came to pass, when Achab saw Elihu, that Achab said to Elihu, Art thou he that perverts Israel? And Elihu said, I do not pervert Israel, but it is thou and thy father's house, in that ye forsake the Lord your God, and thou hast gone after Baalim. And now, send, gather to me all Israel to Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Shem 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, that eat at Jezebel's table. And Achab sent to all Israel, and gathered all the prophets to Mount Carmel. And Elihu drew near to them all, and Elihu said to them, How long will ye halt on both feet? If the Lord be God, follow him, but if Baal, follow him. And the people answered not a word. And Elihu said to the people, I am left, the only one prophet of the Lord, and the prophets of Baal are 450 men, and the prophets of the groves 400. Let them give us 2 oxen, and let them choose one for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire on the wood. And I will dress the other bullock, and put on no fire. And do ye call loudly on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord my God. And it shall come to pass, that the God who shall answer by fire, he is God. And all the people answered and said, The word which thou hast spoken is good. And Elihu said to the prophets of Shem, Choose to yourselves 1 calf, and dress it first, for ye are many. And call ye on the name of your God, but apply no fire. And they took the calf, and dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning till noon, and said, Hear us, O Baal, hear us. And there was no voice, neither was there hearing, and they ran up and down on the altar which they had made. And it was noon, and Elihu the Thesbite mocked them, and he said, Call with a loud voice, for he is a god, for he is meditating, or else perhaps he is engaged in business, or perhaps he is asleep, and is to be awaked. And they cried with a loud voice, and cut themselves according to their custom, with knives and lances, until the blood gushed out upon them. And they prophesied until the evening came. And it came to pass, as it was the time of the offering of the sacrifice, that Elihu the Thesbite spoke to the prophets of the abominations, saying, Stand by for the present, and I will offer my sacrifice. And they stood aside and departed. And Elihu said to the people, Come near to me. And all the people came near to him. And Elihu took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of Israel, as the Lord spoke to him, saying, Israel shall be thy name. And he built up the stones in the name of the Lord, and repaired there the altar that had been broken down. And he made a trench that would hold 2 measures of seed round about the altar. And he piled the cleft wood on the altar which he had made, and divided the whole burnt offering, and laid it on the wood, and laid it in order on the altar, and said, Fetch me 4 pitchers of water, and pour it on the whole burnt offering, and on the wood. And they did so. And he said, Do it the 2nd time. And they did it the 2nd time. And he said, Do it the 3rd time. And they did it the 3rd time. And the water ran about the altar, and they filled the trench with water. And Elihu cried aloud to heaven, and said, Lord God of Abraham, and Isaac, and Israel, answer me, O Lord, answer me this day by fire, and let all this people know that thou art the Lord, the God of Israel, and I am thy servant. For thy sake have I wrought these works. Hear me, O Lord, hear me, and let these people know that thou art the Lord God, and thou hast turned back the heart of his people. Then fire fell from the Lord out of heaven, and devoured the whole burnt offerings, and the wood, and the water that was in the trench, and the fire licked up the stones and the earth. And all the people fell upon their faces, and said, Truly, the Lord is God. He is God. And Elihu said to the people, Take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them. And Elihu brings them down to the brook Kishon, and slew them there. And Elihu said to Achab, Go up, and eat and drink, for there is a sound of the coming of rain. And Achab went up to eat and to drink. And Elihu went up to Carmel, and stooped to the ground, and put his face between his knees, and said to his servant, Go up, and look toward the sea. And the servant looked, and said, There is nothing. And Elihu said, Do thou then go again 7 times. And the servant went again 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, that behold, a little cloud, like the sole of a man's foot, brought water. And he said, Go up, and say to Achab, Make ready thy chariot, and go down, lest the rain overtake thee. And it came to pass in the meanwhile, that the heaven grew black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Achab wept, and went to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was upon Elihu, and he girt up his loins, and ran before Achab to Jezreel. And Achab told Jezebel his wife all that Elihu had done, and how he had slain the prophets with the sword. And Jezebel sent to Elihu, and said, If thou art Elihu, and I am Jezebel, God do so to me, and more also, if I do not make thy life by this time tomorrow as the life of one of them. And Elihu feared, and rose, and departed for his life. And he comes to Beersabee, to the land of Judah, and he left his servant there. And he himself went a day's journey in the wilderness, and came and sat under a juniper tree, and asked concerning his life, that he might die, and said, Let it be enough now, O Lord. Take, I pray thee, my life from me, for I am no better than my fathers. And he lay down and slept there under a tree. And behold, someone touched him, and said to him, Arise and eat. And Elihu looked, and behold, at his head there was a cake of meal, and cruse of water. And he arose, and ate and drank, and returned and lay down. And the angel of the Lord returned again, and touched him, and said to him, Arise, and eat, for the journey is far from thee. And he arose, and ate, and drank, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights to Mount Horeb. And he entered there into a cave, and rested there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said, What doest thou here, Elihu? And Elihu said, I have been very jealous for the Lord Almighty, because the children of Israel have forsaken thee. They have digged down thine altars, and have slain thy prophets with the sword, and I only am left alone, and they seek my life to take it. And he said, Thou shalt go forth tomorrow, and shalt stand before the Lord in the mount. Behold, the Lord will pass by, and behold, a great and strong wind rending the mountains, and crushing the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake, and after the earthquake a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire the voice of a gentle breeze. And it came to pass, when Elihu heard, that he wrapped his face in his mantle, and went forth, and stood in the cave. And behold, a voice came to him, and said, What doest thou here, Elihu? And Elihu said, I have been very jealous for the Lord Almighty, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, and they have overthrown thine altars, and have slain thy prophets with the sword. And I am left entirely alone, and they seek my life to take it. And the Lord said to him, Go, return, and thou shalt come into the way of the wilderness of Damascus, and thou shalt go and anoint Azael to be the king over Syria. And Jehu the son of Amasai shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel. And Elisai the son of Shaphat shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room. And it shall come to pass, that him that escapes from the sword of Azael Jehu shall slay, and him that escapes from the sword of Jehu Elisai shall slay. And thou shalt leave in Israel 7,000 men, all the knees which had not bowed themselves to Baal, and every mouth which had not worshipped him. And he departed thence, and finds Elisai the son of Shaphat, and he was plowing with oxen. There were 12 yoke before him, and he with the 12. And he passed by to him, and cast his mantle upon him. And Elisai left the cattle, and ran after Elihu, and said, I will kiss my father, and follow after thee. And Elihu said, Return, for I have done a work for thee. And he returned from following him, and took a yoke of oxen, and slew them, and boiled them with the instruments of oxen, and gave to the people, and they ate. And he arose, and went after Elihu, and ministered to him. Psalm 104, 105 in Hebrew, verses 1 through 15. Alleluia. Give thanks to the Lord and call upon his name. Declare his works among the heathen. Sing to him, yea, sing praises to him. Tell forth all his wonderful works. Glory in his holy name. Let the heart of them that seek the Lord rejoice. Seek ye the Lord, and be strengthened. Seek his face continually. Remember his wonderful works that he has done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. Ye seed of Abraham, his servants, ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He has remembered his covenant forever, the word which he had commanded for 1,000 generations, which he established as a covenant to Abraham, and he remembered his oath to Isaac. And he established it to Jacob for an ordinance, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying, To thee will I give the land of Canaan, the line of your inheritance. When they were few in number, very few, and sojourners in it. And they went from nation to nation, and from one kingdom to another people. He suffered no man to wrong them, and he rebuked kings for their sakes, saying, Touch not my anointed ones, and do my prophets no harm. Proverbs chapter 22, verses 14 through 18. The mouth of a transgressor is a deep pit, and he that is hated of the Lord shall fall into it. Evil ways are before a man, he does not like to turn away from them, but it is needful to turn aside from a perverse and bad way. Folly is attached to the heart of a child, but the rod and instruction are then far from him. He that oppresses the poor increases his own substance, yet gives to the rich so as to make it less. Incline thine ear to the words of wise men. Hear also my word, and apply thine heart, that thou mayest know that they are good. And if thou lay them to heart, they shall also gladden thee on thy lips. The Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 22, verses 47 through 71. And while he yet spake, behold, a multitude, and he that was called Judas, one of the 12, went before them, and drew near unto Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said unto him, Judas, betrayest thou the Son of Man with a kiss? When they which were about him saw what would follow, they said unto him, Lord, shall we smite with the sword? And one of them smote the servant of the high priest, and cut off his right ear. And Jesus answered and said, Suffer ye thus far. And he touched his ear, and healed him. And Jesus said unto the chief priests, and captains of the temple, and the elders which were come to him, Be ye come out as against a thief, with swords and staves? When I was daily with you in the temple, ye stretched forth no hands against me, but this is your hour, and the power of darkness. Then took they him, and led him, and brought him into the high priest's house, and Peter followed afar off. And when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the hall, and were set down together, Peter sat down among them. But a certain maid beheld him as he sat by the fire, and earnestly looked upon him, and said, This man was also with him. And he denied him, saying, Woman, I know him not. And after a little while another saw him, and said, Thou art also of them. And Peter said, Man, I am not. And about the space of 1 hour after another confidently affirmed, saying, Of a truth this fellow also was with them, for he is a Galilean. And Peter said, Man, I know not what thou sayest. And immediately, while he yet spake, the cock crew. And the Lord turned, and looked upon Peter. And Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And Peter went out and wept bitterly. And the men that held Jesus mocked him, and smote him. And when they had blindfolded him, they struck him on the face, and asked him, saying, Prophesy, who is it that smote thee? And many other things blasphemously spake they against him. And as soon as it was day, the elders of the people, and the chief priests, and the scribes came together, and led him into their council, saying, Art thou the Christ? Tell us. And he said unto them, If I tell you, ye will not believe. And if I also ask you, ye will not answer me, nor let me go. Hereafter shall the Son of Man sit on the right hand of the power of God. Then said they all, Art thou then the Son of God? And he said unto him, Ye say that I am. And they said, What need we any further witness? For we ourselves have heard of his own mouth.